Well, here I am at the trailhead on a Friday afternoon. Welcome everyone. Let me do something a bit different on my channel here, but it'll be fun. So I'm getting ready to head off onto the trail. It was at about the mid 2000s altitude in town. It was 100 degrees. It is here 90 or just above. I am at about the mid 5000s in altitude now. Got my pack here, as you can see. I'm gonna do a backpacking and night out. And there is Raven, her dogness. So we're gonna head out. And then I'm gonna share some of the actual trail footage of hiking, and then at camp, share a little bit of footage, just talk about some stuff. Maybe lay out some gear and show you the most important stuff I've brought, that kind of stuff, and talk about that. So I will see you guys in a little bit. All right, so here's the trailhead we're headed to. I'm gonna start on the trail. I have not done a backpacking camp out trip with Raven. We've only done truck camping with her. So this is a new experiment, but she loves hiking in the outdoors. So that's what we're gonna do. Come on, Raven. You wouldn't think you're in the Las Vegas area desert, but this is what we're headed up into. As you can see, this trail specifically, jogging, hiking, and horses only. Dogs are allowed, so that's what we're doing. It's nice seeing some green. I haven't been backpacking in a while, so this will be fun. I'm using this as a short, relatively easy trip, only 5 or 6 miles with an overnight camp, to kind of get a feel from my hiking, backpacking legs. Right now, I brought a bit more than I necessarily would just to camp for a bit of extra comforts, as it were, luxury creature comforts, to weigh down the pack a little bit, make it an enjoyable night. But to weigh down the pack a little bit and kind of work the legs a bit more and the hips a bit more. And work on the fitness part and really testing myself. So that was my plan here. Raven. There we go. She likes to explore. That's why I have to have her on a leash. And when I get to stopping points or camping points, I have a longer, I think 25-foot metal cable that I'll ring around a tree or something. And she can be hooked up on that until we head into the tent for the night, because otherwise she'll run off exploring and it'll take me half an hour to catch her. And I don't feel like doing that. What a nice view already, though. I guarantee you she's gonna hope to catch some wildlife. She's caught and killed both a chipmunk in my parents' house and a bird out here before. So we'll see. I just want to show you guys the start of the trail and the environment we're in. It's so good to get out in the outdoors. It's such a wonderful thing. And this was about an hour and a half, hour 45-minute drive from my house. So yeah, we'll leave the car down there and see it again tomorrow. I will catch up with you guys later. Hey everybody, we stopped for a short water break about a mile in. You can see pack there, my drink. One thing you have to do, whether you take into account how fast you hike and how far you go in between breaks and all that kind of stuff, is consider who else is with you, how good a shape you're in for the long term, and that sort of thing. In this case, I'm hiking with a Siberian Husky. They don't do great in really hot weather. Now, she's lived in New Mexico and Las Vegas now with me, so she's used to hot weather. But you still need to pay attention to like how heavy they're panting, that kind of stuff, and just kind of get a feel for how they're feeling, and make sure you give them a break, keep them in the shade, or give them some water enough, just like you would with kids, right? Make sure they stop, sit down, have a snack, and drink some water, or that their pack's not too heavy for their capabilities, that kind of thing. So it's about, sorry about the camera work, trying to find a way to hold it. It's about making it a good experience for everybody. And also Raven tugging on my arm doesn't help with camera work either. And then for yourself, don't overpack for your capabilities. Don't do something too hard or too long for your capabilities. And sometimes it's hard. Like I said, I haven't done this in a couple of years now. I've truck camped or just hiked, but not like a full backpack overnight where you pack your bag full. And my bag's pretty full, like I said. So this is kind of testing my capabilities. That's why as I walk, I get a feeling for how I feel and whether I should take a bit of a more steady, slower pace, or if I can walk a little bit faster or slow down and enjoy things or take more breaks. This time it's a bit easier because I need to give her some breaks anyways. So there is that. Oh, and since I haven't done a wristwatch check yet in the video yet, for this trip, I'm doing 2 of them. You just saw one. This is the watch I've built the most kind of memories adventuring with personally. So I have the Tudor Pelagos right there. I've adventured with this a lot of places. National Park, the Gila National Park in New Mexico on the Arizona border. I've taken it up a mountain in Indonesia on the island of Bali. A number of different adventures with it. So this is just another one, building kind of memories with that watch. So that's what I wear this for if I'm not wearing it for work. On the other wrist, I do have a Garmin. This is the 42mm Phoenix 6S, and I'm using it to track the hike itself, the trip, GPS, heart rate, route, all that kind of stuff. So that's more of like my actual backpacking hiking tool. And then Tudor is kind of like the backup as far as like time and stuff like that. And also it is a bit more of this nostalgia thing of having built memories and continuing to build memories with that watch. And that's just one of those watches for me. Anyways, I think our break's about done, so I'm going to pack up, get back on the trail, and I will see you guys a little bit later. All right. We just passed a trailhead where the trail forks. One side is where we'll come back. This side splits off to the right and takes us on the loop of the trail. We've done 1.6 miles so far, and it feels good in the shade when a breeze hits you, but it's hot otherwise. Oof. What a day to go backpacking for the first time in ages. 90 plus degrees. It sure will feel good tonight when it's down in the 60s. That will feel magical. Although I did bring a long sleeve shirt for that, and a lightweight fleece to go over it if it feels too cold after the 90-degree temperatures of the day today. Always got to be prepared. You never know if it might rain, if it's going to get cool or cold. And if you're out and working hard when it's 90 to 100 degrees, 30 degrees colder, and that's going to feel cold and give you a chill. And that's only in the 60s. So it's always something to consider. I learned that in the Middle East. You learn that 99 degrees Fahrenheit feels cold after it's 135 in the middle of the day. Another thing I don't want to overstate is just how good this is for you physically, mentally. I think it makes you feel good about yourself. One thing I've learned with the outdoors and doing physical things in the outdoors, hiking, camping, fishing, shooting, backpacking, putting yourself through physical labor and doing these things is, one, you learn that you can kind of deal with just about anything. You also learn what hard work will do for you. And I think you gain the confidence in yourself that whatever comes up, you have the ability to handle it. So going on these kind of adventures isn't just for fun and relaxation and get away from all the busyness of the world, even though it is about that too. But it also is about all those other things, testing yourself, gaining confidence in yourself. Ooh, a little lizard just went running by. Confidence in yourself, learning what you're capable of and that you can deal with a lot and be just fine, if not better off afterwards. So this kind of stuff I think is really important and really valuable. I'm trying to film and also pay attention to where I'm going while I have the dog pulling on her leash. But yeah, really good stuff. Maybe coming up on another good view here. Maybe coming up on a good view. I think so. Valley, Heading up the peaks. The left one being Mount Charleston, if I'm not mistaken, because I think it's the highest one. But yeah, what an environment this is. All right, I'm gonna stop and take a picture of this one. I found a spot I'm gonna camp for the night. So I'm gonna get that set up, and then I'll lay everything out and we can have a chat. No fires allowed, so I have my little single burner stove for cooking. So I'll be a bit chill. I'm gonna get myself set up and make sure everything fits, and we'll go from there. So I'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. So here's a really quick look. Now the tent is up. Before I unpack everything else, I thought I'd give you a look at where I'm at. So there's Raven, sitting comfy under the bush. This is a side trail that goes off. I don't know where it goes. And this trail here is the trail I came in on. So I came from that way. Basically, I came from down in the valley and then around the other side, all the way back around that way. And I'll be going this way to meet back up with the car later. So here's where I'm at right now, which is just beautiful in my opinion, I think. The trail. Just what a place. I mean, fantastic. And then I've set up right over here off this little side trail. As you can see here, I got the tent set up, so I'll set up everything else really quick after I finish this bit. There's my tent. It's a Kelty Salita 2, several years old at this point, but has worked well for me for quite a long time. So it'll be me and the dog in there. I'm gonna finish getting set up and then set up the tripod and do a little bit of filming with you guys. But what a place, so beautiful. All right guys, I've got camp more or less set up. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and we can take a look at some of the stuff that I packed in for this camping trip and what I'm gonna use it for before I get on to dinner. It won't be a super long video because I wanna start dinner pretty soon, but, or super long portion of the video, I should say. But I did want to share some of the stuff I brought. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and we'll get to it. All right, so let's go over what I brought. First, I'm out here with a dog. So I brought Raven. Say hi, Raven. Hi. And I have her metal cable here, so I've got it wrapped around a tree. This is just something that I put her on. She's a Siberian Husky, and they're super adventurous, and I don't feel like chasing her for half an hour up and down all of these valleys and stuff, trying to get her back on a leash. And she's that adventurous where she would just run off and start chasing stuff. So I walk with her on a regular leash, and when I get to camp, I put her on that so she has some space to roam, and then we'll be in the tent together overnight. And I've got a water bowl. So I guess first with the dog stuff, I've got some dog treats, and I got another one in here too, one of these. So a couple dog treats and dog food, or food bowl. This has been pretty good. Took a little while to get used to using it. This Roughwear, that's her food bowl, and then that's her water bowl for traveling, because that folds flat, so I can put it just in the side pocket and slide it like right in here. I have for weaponry, I essentially brought the PPQ. This is the original paddle shift version for the magazine release. The Walther PPQ, excellent firearm. It's super lightweight, still has 15 rounds, and shoots like a dream. So I brought that. It's one of my favorite backpacking protection measures. And it's got the really cool German, European markings on them. I did bring a big knife for processing firewood if I was able to have a fire. Turns out I can't. It's been too dry, so no fires right now. So I'm left to my camp stove. But if I had been able to, I didn't feel like hiking the axe out here, just too heavy. So I brought the Ontario knife, RTAC 2. Awesome blade. This is great for processing firewood to make fires when you're in the wilderness. An axe is also great. Like I have a Grand Force Brooks 19-inch forest axe. I prefer using that, but this is better to carry when you're hiking up and down some mountains. So I brought that this time, and that lets you kind of section off and split wood for fires. For power purposes, I have this battery pack for the phone, because that's what I'm using for my filming. And I've got batteries for my 2 flashlights. I'll show you those in a minute in the tent. A couple AAAs, and then the 1, 2, 3s. And there's a couple other random items in my pack, but most of my pack's are already out. Another thing I've got, and this is a kit I really like. Other than I left at home, I have a trauma kit that I built I partially built myself. It's an ITS. Imminent threat solutions with some added stuff for myself. That's my trauma kit, but this is more just like a standard out in the outdoors medical kit. And for just the kind of bog standard one you can throw in your pack or in your car or whatever. I love the AMK Mountain Series kits. So I have this one, the Weekender. That's all for my medical stuff. If you guys want, I can break down what's in there another time. That's up to you. Just if you want that, leave that in the comments, and if enough people request that, I will do a video about that. For food, you can see 2 fuel canisters here. One's almost empty, so I brought another full one, and a couple MREs. You could do MREs with just water, but since I'm here and I don't need to do that, I decided to bring a stove, and I'll boil water in here, and then put the stuff that needs to be heated into the boiled water instead of using the chemical reaction stuff that comes in the MREs to heat up. And this is my burner. It's not my lightest weight one, but I decided to bring this one anyways, so the Primus. It doesn't fold up, and it's not quite as lightweight and small as my other one, but that was fine for this trip. I was kind of, like I said before, I'm testing myself to see physically how I feel. So as you can see, I brought some extra stuff, so I didn't mind a few extra ounces or grams of weight with this one versus the others. So I'll use these 2 pots to cook. I don't actually need to bring these, so I could have left these pots at home, brought just this, and then my titanium cup, and been fine. But since I decided I want to do the MREs in water in a pot, I just decided to bring this anyways. It wasn't a big deal. But I didn't need that. That wasn't as minimal as I could have gone. Speaking of that, this is a titanium cup, which I love. It is super light, from Snow Peak. And it's just a titanium cup with lid. So it's got this little lid here. It latches on, and it's super lightweight. It's got a couple fold-out handles on the side. Great. You can see my coffee. Got some Black Rifle coffee. I will be making that. I have actually a hand grinder in my pack somewhere. Let me see, pull that out. That's my camping grinder, because I grind my own beans. I don't get pre-ground. Oh, here's the other knife. I also have a Mora. So this was also for any firewood processing, for the smaller wood processing, anything like that. So I have this really awesome black carbon Mora. So that I brought that as well. Really cool knife. Love that thing. And here it is. So this is my coffee grinder for when I go camping. And you just put some coffee beans in there, put the top on, and then attach the handle and start grinding. And the grounds all gather in the bottom. And then for the coffee guys, you already probably know, but for everyone else who doesn't know, this is where the grinds go. So I have a pour over for camping, and you just clip that to the top of here, like so, or I could use that cup too if I wanted. And you have the grinds in there, and you pour the water over the top, hot water over the top, and you make your coffee. Absolutely fantastic. And that's from GSI Outdoors. I love that thing. It is fantastic. Anyways, there's my water. So this one's already empty. This one's maybe a third, half empty. And then this one I haven't touched yet. And that one's about probably 95 or 96 to 110 ounces. I filled it over the line that says 96. So that's the water for this week. Packing in the bourbon plus all that water is part of the reason my pack was so heavy, which was a pain in the butt. You guys can also see here, I've got a little speaker. I was listening to The Grey NATO, one of my favorite podcasts. Oh, I got a fly in my bourbon. That is disappointing. Let's try to get that little shit out of there. All right. And also I brought in an Ashton. That's a Churchill, and I'll enjoy that tonight. So those are kind of treats for myself, since I wasn't trying to keep this all super lightweight. I brought those as well. Oh, good bourbon. I mentioned before the Kelty, the Salida 2. This is an older Salida 2, but a great design. It's not like a super high tech. You don't have doors on both sides, but it's a lightweight. I want to say right around 4 pounds, 2-person tent, or like 1 person and a big dog, either one. With a vestibule on one side. I didn't stake out the fly on the other 3 sides, just the vestibule side, because it doesn't look like it's going to rain. I don't expect rain at all or anything, so I didn't bother with that. I can do that later if I need to. But yeah, I've had this for years, and it's been a great tent for backpacking. And I got the rest of my stuff in here. Okay, so you can see that I got my pad, the orange pad, so it doesn't get quite as uncomfortable as it could. And then I've got a little, this is just from Walmart, a little camp pillow. And then here I've got my Snugpak Elite, Snugpak Softy Elite 1. For the weather in Vegas, this generally works just fine. There are places and time at the deepest of winter where you're going to be breaking that lowest one. So I might bring something else in that case. But for the majority of the year, this is a great sleeping bag, except for maybe like January, February. Otherwise, it works. And then I mentioned I brought a long sleeve base layer and a lightweight long sleeve like pullover fleece, so that I could take care of that if it got kind of chilly tonight. And since it was in the 90s, if it gets in the 60s tonight, it'll feel chilly. And then lastly, I've got my flashlights. So this is an O-light in a really killer like olive green flat earth color, which actually matches one of my Hamilton watches. And it's the i3T EOS. It's just a AAA battery powered, single AAA powered flashlight. Works great. And then I've also got, this is one of 2 or 3 streamlights I've got, but one of 2 that use the 123 batteries. So this is the ProTech 1L. I have a bigger version of this too, but I bought the smaller version today that uses one 123 battery. I also have one that uses 2, but this one uses 1. Oops, and it's pretty bright, so that'll be great. And I brought a book to read, and that's really it. I didn't really bring anything else, other than what's in my pockets, I suppose, which I have a CRKT knife. So this is my knife for food, pocket knife. The reason I use this one for food, I love this knife actually. This is a Kin Onion. It's called the Home Front. The reason I use this knife for food is you flip this switch, and then you spin this right here. It's a separate piece from the rest of it, but even though it looks the same. And you can separate the blade and this right side part of the handle, and they all come apart, which makes it really easy to clean. So for a food knife for camping, that's great, having it so easy to clean. And then of course, on my left wrist, I have the Tudor Pelagos. I put it on the rubber usually when I do adventures because of the sweat, but looking great. So this is a watch that's been with me through a number of adventures. I've taken it backpacking and camping in Lincoln National Forest, in eastern New Mexico, in the mountains there. I've taken it truck camping and off-roading in the Gila National Forest in western New Mexico, along the Arizona border. I've taken it mountain climbing in Indonesia, on the island of Bali, and other numerous adventures. So it's kind of like my adventure watch for sentimental reasons, and it's also a backup for time purposes and stuff like that, to my kind of like actual tool, which is the Garmin Fenix series. This is the 6S, so that's the 42 millimeter size Garmin Fenix 6. I had it running the hike part earlier, which tracked my GPS on the map, and heart rate, and how fast I was going, like miles per hour, and a whole bunch of stuff. Right now it's just in its normal setting. So in town, I live at the altitude mid 2000s, and when I started this hike, I was in the mid 5000s, and I've gone up and down quite a bit. You can see now I'm at a little over 6,000 feet altitude. So I did some good work today. The sun's gonna set just before 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna start on dinner in a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of my normal like outdoorsy tool. And yeah, that's all I brought with me. That's my camp. I do have a lighter for the cigar, and if I was to make a fire, and for my my stove burner. And then I've got a set of backup matches as well in my pack, and a couple other random items in the pack, but that pretty much covers it. and I found my spot where I want to do dinner. This is the trail I was walking on, so we came from that way, and we're going to end up going that way. I've seen a total of 3 people today. One in the parking lot, one early in my hike when I took my first water break, and one right as I was finishing setting up camp, and that's it. But this is where I want to do dinner. I want to sit on this log, put my burner right down here, cook, because I want to enjoy this view while I eat dinner. I mean, how can it get better than that? That's just fantastic. I love it. All right, guys, we're back. I got that great view out here I showed you earlier. Time to cook dinner. So before I do that, I'm going to pour a glass of Buffalo Trace. This is my go-to bourbon when I want like a name brand, not too expensive bourbon that I know is going to still be pretty good. Not complex, but good. And Buffalo Trace is the one I always turn to for that. Oh, that's going to be delicious. All right, let's feed the dog, and then I will get the burner going. Oh. Really simple. As I showed you before, that Roughware bowl, and two servings worth of food, one for tonight and one for tomorrow morning, and all those treats, so it'd be fine. She worked hard today in the heat, but she had a couple of treats after that. Let's see how much that is. Not quite half. Let's do a little bit more. All right, let's do that. We'll save the rest for the morning. I think that should be close to half. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm loving the adventure. The clouds have come in actually, and maybe kind of pushed the sun out of the way, which has been really nice. Oh, she can smell it. Hold up, Raven. Back up. Back up. Back up. Nope, back up. Sit. Good girl. There you go. Give her a little bit of water too. Here. In her water bowl. And this folds down to be flat, which is great for when you want to pack things in and out. And then we'll get started on my food. All right. Let's give it up to half bowl. There we are. And you guys can see what's in an MRE too, for those of you who don't know. Your water girl. All right, so let's have a sip of this first. Oh, bourbon, good bourbon smells so good. Yep, that is wonderful. That is how you finish a day of backpacking with a lot of pounds on your back. All right, so let's open this up first. See what we got in here. You got it all. There's no more. No more. Water? She thinks there's more. All right, so MRE today, it's going to be menu number 19. That is the beef patty, jalapeno, pepper jack. This is not going to be gourmet eating. That's why you have the bourbon. I have done before too, actually. I've been out truck camping with the rooftop tent on top of my 4Runner, and I've done MREs with Spanish red wine, which makes them so much better. So we're gonna cut instead of peeling because I'm just being lazy. There we are. You finished your food. Eat that quick, huh? She ate that quick. I forgot to bring the garbage bag down here, but we can get to that in a little bit. I'll put it in here for now. Any garbage in there. All right, so in here we've got beef patty jalapeno. So that's going to need to get put in boiling water. Chocolate chip cookie. Sounds like it's in pieces. So that can go to the side. We got the pack that has all the like the wet wipes and stuff like that. It's got some fire starter too, which can prove helpful. A pack of peanut M&Ms. Who knows if those are good anymore. Now, Eat by 2018. Spoon. Which I actually have some good silverware in my pack that I forgot to show you guys. Cheese spread with bacon. We've got beverage base orange. May or may not use that. We'll definitely have cheese spread. That's good if it's warmed up a little bit. We've got a cherry cobbler for dessert. That'll be delicious. That'll get heated up as well. And we've got tortillas plain. So that'll go with the cheddar bacon spread. Actually, that'll make that taste edible. So that's everything we've got. So I'm going to pause really quick, go back and get my silverware, the actual good silverware, and then we'll get back to it and start cooking. All right, I am back. So this is the silverware I was talking about. I don't remember if this is what that company is, but it says Light My Fire. But it's a super lightweight plastic fork and spoon set with a little serrated edge. This is my normal camping silverware. I think it works great. Can use it for anything. So I wanted to have that with me. All right. So let's get the food going. All right, so let's open this up. Get that burner out. And we'll get it going. Oh. I'm spilling stuff everywhere. It's not going particularly great right now. Hopefully you guys are finding this video interesting. It's definitely something different from what I've normally done on my channel. I love this kind of stuff. I consider this its own kind of luxury in a way, actually, because I have the ability to go out here and do this and experience, you know, this environment, like by myself, away from people. And it's just makes your life better. I feel better as a person after coming out here. And it's just fantastic. I love it. So it's one of those things I love doing. I find great value in it, as I mentioned before. And I would encourage anyone to consider trying this kind of thing. I find it well worth it. And if you can't start with something like this, I've mentioned before on my Instagram. I've mentioned a couple times in my YouTube channel, but consider a micro adventure. That's where you just get out to a local park or a local hiking trail or running trail or whatever, and get out and do something and start there. Some people didn't grow up with this. I grew up from the age of 3 until I got too busy as a teenager with sports and other stuff. I was out camping and fishing every summer with the family, you know. And we're going to make use of that water for dinner and breakfast boiling. That's the plan there. That way I have more water left over for drinking. All right, so what is it with the flies and the bourbon? Let's get this open. But I would definitely encourage anyone to get out and try something like this. I think it's just good for your soul. I know I feel that way for myself, and it's just wonderful. I mean, look at this for a second, right? I live in Las Vegas, a city. I've got a sun going down back there behind me. You know, I've got the burner going there, my water, get the water boiling to put the food in it to get hot. I've got man's best friend back here hanging out. She just had her dinner, and I'm doing it all in an environment like this. Like, that's my view right now as I'm enjoying a bourbon and cooking my food. Now, granted, it's not like super high quality food, but there's just something great about this. So, yeah, I definitely encourage anyone to try it. If anyone wants any tips or thoughts or has any questions about this kind of stuff, do be sure to ask. It's a interesting, not conundrum, but it's an interesting double-sided thing. Like, you know, being in the military, I wear, you know, like a tactical military uniform when I go to work. If I was dressing how I want to dress all the time, I'd probably be in like chinos and, you know, like a Brooks Brothers like brushed cotton Oxford shirt most of the time, or like a polo, you know, like from Lacoste or something, just something comfortable. Something like that is what I'd be wearing. And I like, you know, fine dining and fine drinks and traveling and going to wine bars all over the world and anything really. I like experiencing the world, history, outdoors, food, drink, etc. But at the same time, I like to like throw on a pair of, you know, pants like this and a pair of hiking shoes and a shirt and fill my pack with stuff and go bust my butt up and down hills and mountains and through woods to get experiences like this, because there's just nothing better. There's a lot of flies right now though, but there's just there's something special about it. I was talking actually with some family too. Like, I really enjoy computer games, like video gaming, reading, movies, but like I can video game a lot. But like, I don't understand the people who can do it nonstop without doing anything else, without ever going outside. Because for me, like, I need my time out here to like kind of refresh and refill and reset, if that makes sense. And that's why I say it kind of like it fills the soul a little bit, and it's just a wonderful thing. So yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it, and I like being able to share it with you guys. So if you guys like this, let me know. And when I do other adventures, you know, I do a handful a year. When I do other ones, I'll try to do more videos related to them if you guys are interested in that. So be sure to let me know in the comments below if you'd like this kind of thing as well, and I'll try to do some more videos. I'm gonna stop the video for a moment, take care of the food, and then probably come back a little bit later. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. Well, I pretty much finished dinner. Just having a little bit of this cookie, really high quality stuff here. But no, dinner's been fine. The beef patties are always disappointing, but the jalapeno gave it a little bit of a kick. Heat up the cheese sauce, whether it's the jalapeno cheese, bacon cheese, or plain cheese, and it makes it totally edible. And whenever there's cheese sauce, there's something in the pack that is crappy without the cheese sauce, but when you add the cheese sauce, it tastes okay. In this case, it was tortillas, like I mentioned. I'm just sitting here having the cookie, enjoying a little bit of bourbon. The sun has more or less gone down behind the mountains on this side now. For a little bit, even like 5 minutes ago, you're getting hits of sunlight on the far side against those hills and mountains and stuff. Gave Raven a treat. We're just going to sit here. I'm going to enjoy this. And after this, I'm going to break out the cigar. And then I'm going to call it a night. It was, I did about 4.5 miles, give or take. 4.5 plus or minus a couple tenths of a mile. And I hadn't been doing that with a pack, weighted pack on my back for a while. Like, I'm talking like, that was probably 40, somewhere in the 40s or 50s. I don't know exactly where, but that's the range of weight that was in my pack, I'm pretty sure. I'll probably weigh it when I get home just to see, because now I know like what it felt like. And I also know a couple adjustments I need to make on the fit with the hip belt and the height of it on my shoulders. because I haven't used it in like I said, a couple of years, that pack. Speaking of, the Coyote 80 from Kelty is a wonderful pack. If you guys want, I could do a separate breakdown review on that one. I look, when it comes to outdoors gear, actually with most things in my life, with a few exceptions, I'm a value proposition guy. And when I say value proposition, what I mean by that is I want good, high quality things without paying far more than they're worth. That's what I want. So I'm looking for the best things for the price that you pay for them. Kelty, for tents and packs, and LL Bean for clothes are two companies I routinely go back to and turn to for that. I've considered getting another Kelty tent, actually, and I've got two Kelty packs. I've got the Coyote 80 I was carrying today and a Red Wing 50. The Coyote 80 for me is meant to be like a multi-night pack, but that would be if I was going more minimal, like, you know, not bringing a full bottle of bourbon, not needing to carry as much, like all of my water. If I knew I could make stops for water along the way, you know, I'd bring a filter instead of water because it's lighter, and I would filter out of like streams or something, like that kind of stuff. Then I would go a bit more minimal and use the Coyote 80 for, you know, multi-night, like two or three nights. The Red Wing 50 was meant for me as a one-night pack that I could also use as like a day hike pack, where you include the things that you want in case your day hike turns into an overnight, because that can happen. You can go on a hike, turn the wrong way, and suddenly you're not going to make it back to your car before dark, so you're going to be out for the night. Like that has happened to people, and you need to consider that when you go out. So for me, the Red Wing 50 for me was meant as like a one night overnight pack, minimal, or as a day hiking pack with gear to have in reserve in case you get stuck out overnight. Because I do sometimes hike trails I've never been on before. I've never been in the area. Actually, this is my first time on this trail, for example. And I hiked an extra mile to a mile and a half, that range, more than I needed to, because I got turned around on a side trail that I thought looped around and didn't. So like that's a great example. Now I planned on staying out tonight, so I brought my Red Wing or my Coyote 80 pack from Kelty. But if I'd meant to make this a day hike, I meant to stay out tonight. But if I'd meant for it to be a day hike, instead of maybe having a tent, I might have like a tarp and a sleeping bag, and that's it. But like you can survive off of that, and that would make me a little bit more comfortable than just being under the stars. Although I've slept under the stars before, when I was younger, you know, like 16 or something. I slept under the stars, no tent at all before, so there's that. But yeah, the Coyote 80 is for the 80 liters. That pack from Kelty is one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most versatile, kind of like best all-around packs. You know, you could use it for one night out, like I am tonight. You can get 2 or 3 nights out of it if you plan properly, no problem. I wouldn't do my food the same way. I wouldn't pack all the same things. I would change things up if I was doing that. But you could fit enough things in that pack for like a 2 or 3 nighter. No problem. So yeah, I forgot. I just completely lost my train of thought. I love a good bourbon. It's so good. Let's finish up this cookie and then I'll get to my cigar. But, and some of this will get cut out, some of this will stay. I'm just videoing as I think and leaving it there. Raven's done remarkably well. We started our hike and it was right around 90 to 93 degrees. She's a Siberian Husky. I don't run her when it's over 80 degrees. You know, I try not to walk her if it's over 100. But, I mean, she was a trooper, and she was doing better than I was at points. Now, she wasn't carrying a bunch of weight like I was, but, you know. I gotta show this to you guys. When we turn this way, I mean, what a beautiful, beautiful view that is. Unbelievable. Like, that makes life better right there. Really love being out here. It's such a wonderful thing. Like I said earlier, it resets you. It's good for your soul, and many other things beyond. I've already talked about it, so I won't go on that some more. But yeah, what a night. But anyways, yeah. So that's my packs. My thoughts on my packs and why I chose them. I can go into more detail, or if you guys want like specific. This log is not the most comfortable. Just saying. If you guys want more specific like reviews or insights into like the packs or my tent or anything like that, I'm willing to do videos about that if you want. My tent, that the Kelty Salida 2, it's what I would consider like a budget backpacking tent. Really high-end tents, they'll do, you know, like a vestibule on both sides or doors on both sides, like that kind of stuff. And the Salida 2 doesn't. But, I mean, when you take price into account, otherwise, quality-wise, Salida 2 from Kelty lives up to the same quality of those tents, but they put a door on one side and a vestibule on one side, and that's it. Like, that's the change they made, but otherwise, quality of materials and workmanship, in my opinion, is right there with the more expensive stuff. Just without a few of the, like, upper end, like, features that aren't really necessary, but are nice. But like I said, I'm a value proposition guy, so I'm looking for, like, the best for the money. And for the money that you pay for a Kelty, in this case, the Salida 2 is what I picked. For the money you pay, I feel like you get a balance of features that work without extraneous, not unnecessary, but like they're unnecessary. They're extra features that are nice to have, but you don't need. But with that high-end quality, without jacking the price up double just to have the minor extra features. Like, I don't want to pay $500 or $600 for a tent instead of $200 or something, $250. If all I get is another door and vestibule. If nothing else is different, it's not worth it to me. As an example, I don't know that's truly the prices. I'd have to look them up again because I don't remember. I'm just speaking off the top of my head. But as an example, let's just pretend the Salida 2 is $200 and the high-end stuff is $500. And you get a second door on the other side, a second vestibule on the other side, and not much else of an improvement of quality, right? That's not worth it. Doubling the cost is not worth that to me. Now, that's just me. For some people, maybe it is, but for me, it's not. And that's where I'm talking value proposition. I care about the quality, how long it's going to last, and the features that are worth it for the price. I'm a guy who'll go buy $180, $250 bottle of whiskey sometimes. Not often, but rarely I will. Normally, I'm the guy buying the whiskey between about $30 and $70. I'm searching out the really good stuff, high quality stuff in those price points, where it's the people really doing it right and making great stuff and then not overcharging you for it like crazy. And then every once in a while, I'll find something special and I'll splurge. But I don't go around looking for just the most expensive bottle of whiskey I can find because I know better, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's worth the money. It's the same way with my outdoors gear, my tents, my sleeping bags, my clothes, etc. It just doesn't mean it's worth it just because it costs more. Same for watches, really. I mean, you can find watches. Well, it depends on your tastes, of course, and your needs and how you're going to use it. But you can find watches for $4,000 or $5,000 that might be better for you for the money than a $8,000 to $10,000 watch. Does that mean they're actually better? No, not necessarily. But when the differences are so minuscule, is it worth the double the cost for you? That's what I'm talking about. Some people it's yes, some people it's no. And for some people it might be yes in certain situations and no in other situations. I find that could be me. Well, my Tudor Pelagos, for example. I prefer this over Modern Submariner. It's cheaper. I actually think it's better. Not in every way, but for the money, I think it's better. I would rather spend, $3 to $4 on this than $6 to $10 on a sub. That doesn't mean there's not things about the sub that are better than the Pelagos, but to me, it's not worth the money. But I looked at the Tudor Black Bay 36 and then the vintage 36 Rolex Explorers. I chose the vintage 36 Rolex Explorer. For me, that was worth the jump in price. Even though I love the Black Bay 36, there's just something about the Explorer that works for me. Like the Explorer 1 in 36 millimeters. Oh, it's just such a stunning watch. I mean, really fantastic. So sometimes you take the cost, sometimes you don't. Simple. I'm in the outdoors. The sun's gone down, mostly. It's getting a bit darker. And I'm just kind of waxing philosophical. So who knows if this will actually make it in the video or not. But it's enjoyable. And I'm going to finish this cookie. I'm going to enjoy this bourbon. I'm going to smoke this cigar. It's nice just hearing the birds chirping. The breeze, the slight breeze. And the random intermittent airplane or helicopter that goes by. I've had one helicopter and one airplane since I started setting up camp. And being away from everything like that is just really lovely. This has gone on for 15 minutes. I'm going to take a pause in the video. I hope you guys are enjoying. And I will catch you guys either a little bit later or in the morning. I'm not sure yet. Alright guys, it's getting a little bit dark now. You can't tell, I think, because the camera is trying to make up for it. Let me pick this up really quick and see if it'll show better if I kind of... No, see, it still seems like there's daylight out. When I move the tripping over a log. I'll move the camera around, but to my personal vision, it's darker than it looks on the screen. So this will be my calling it a night, saying good night before I pick up in the morning on the hike back to the car, packing up camp.
All right, good morning, everybody. Woke up probably about an hour ago. Kind of dozed off again. Now I'm up. It's a little bit after 7, and the sun's up really good. Makes for a beautiful morning. And yeah, it's just wonderful spending a night out like that. The stars were out wonderfully last night, and that was really nice. And just chilled in the tent with Raven, and had a great sleep. So I think it's time. Time for coffee and breakfast. So I'm gonna do that, and then maybe I'll get a little bit of video on the hike out. But just wanted to say morning, and also say thanks to everyone that's joined and watching and experiencing a little bit of this adventure. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll take you guys a little bit on the hike out here.
All right, guys, and we are off from our little campsite and heading back down the trail. Beautiful morning, not too hot yet. It is about 9:15 and hitting the trail to head back for the car. Finished breakfast, coffee, and then packing up all the gear into the pack. And put my bag of trash on top, got everything to fit. The pack is as big or full as it was before, but it's not as heavy. Gone through about 150 ounces of water, which actually weighs quite a bit. Water is always heavier than you think it is going to be. So packing water is a heavy business, and definitely takes up space and weight in your pack that you'd rather it not. But there's nowhere to get water out here. Even though it's green, there's no stream or anything along this trail. No spring, nothing. So this is what I've got left in water right now for the hike out. So that 150 ounces between cooking and then keeping me and Raven hydrated. I mean, I'm dehydrated right now, I can feel it. Now granted, the bourbon didn't help with that, but I'm a little dehydrated, but I brought enough water. That's the key, it's enough. I have a little bit more in the car, another half bottle in the car that I'll use once I get back. But you start having to weigh how much water you're gonna need versus how much effort you're gonna put forth to carry all of it. And then you try to balance that out. I had enough water to get it done, but not so much that it just made me work even harder, which would have meant needing even more water. So like you never really catch up. So that's kind of how I planned that out. Water weight versus consumption. And I got it about right. You know, an extra 20 ounces or so would have been nice, but didn't work out that way. And carrying another bottle wasn't worth it in the pack. I mean, these views, I love them. This trail doesn't take you to any one particular like peak or lookout, but it just kind of winds itself back and forth along these ridges, on these smaller ridges in between the bigger mountains, and it just gives you really nice views of all of them. Trying to share some of the beauty of the world. Because it really is something. Like I said, I really do feel like it's just good for your soul, and it's good for your fitness too. Putting all this weight on your back and then hiking up and down these trails definitely works your glutes and your legs a ton. Talk about a good glute workout in quads and hamstrings. Well, and your ankle stabilizers, calf muscles, and everything down there have to work pretty hard on the uneven trails too. So yeah, it's good for you. All right, I'm gonna sign off for now. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. She likes to stop and sniff sometimes. You can see how it goes down from the trail quite a bit. Wouldn't want to go tumbling down. Wouldn't feel very good. It's a good trail though. This one is. I've heard a couple airplanes overhead over the course of last night and this morning, and one helicopter, and that's pretty much it. Haven't heard much else. So nice and quiet. Get the trail and the wilderness to yourself, more or less. I mean, minor minimal human interaction. That looks really pretty across there. All right. Not sure exactly how far I have to hike out this morning. I've done almost a mile so far from breaking camp, and I'm not sure exactly how far I have to go. I know when I get to the part where the trail fork meets, I have 1.6 miles after that. I would guess I'd get there within the next mile. The question is where, like at what point within the next mile. It could be a quarter mile, it could be a half mile, 3/4 mile. I'm just not sure. So, making my way out. And that was my adventure for the weekend. All right, guys, made it back to the truck. All right, so did 2.8 miles this morning from my campsite back to the truck. Having a quick drink of water for myself and Raven, and then I'll get on the road back home. Thanks for joining in on the journey. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please do again. Feel free to comment in the comments down below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. If you'd like to see anything else similar, or anything that I talked about or showed in more detail, let me know and I'll see what I can do. So thanks, and stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.